What's up, everybody? Good morning. Hello. Welcome to Philly with John Marks on PHLY. As always, sponsored by Bet Parks. Eagles are 9-point favorites over the Cowboys on Sunday over the Bet Parks app right now. Also, as always, presented by Central City Toyota. Uncle Jamie and his college football locks are coming up later in the program, so stay tuned for that. Hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. I guess it's Boxer Day, and that doesn't mean you wear your boxers. It's in Canada. I'm not exactly sure what it is, I think. But I heard somebody say I was listening to a radio show on the way in, and it said, Happy Boxer Day. And it's like, all right, cool. It's a holiday celebrated after Christmas, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Anyway, what a, I kind of make fun of the NBA, even if I don't say it out loud internally. Because the Christmas day of the NBA was supposed to be like, oh, we got games from noon until all the way up until the late night window, and they really wanted to make Christmas Day something special for the NBA, almost like the unofficial start of the season. Like, all right, it's Christmas, let's go NBA. And then the NFL invaded and said, no, you're not allowed to have your own day because we own every day that we want to own. And there was 2 NFL games yesterday, which were completely non-competitive. And then the 76ers and the Celtics were one of the primetime games. And, man, I don't really know if there was any expectation going in because it's a game in December. Sixers are really still trying to find themselves. And Embiid's back from the facial fracture injury. You're still trying to figure out, well, what is this team? How good can they be this year? When are they going to make a run? Because they're going to make a run. And they've looked pretty good in the last couple of weeks. And yesterday they were just dynamite up in Boston. They were rolling. Tyrese Maxey, when Tyrese Maxey plays like that and the surrounding cast plays like they did, the Sixers can beat anybody. You can see why their ceiling is high. And I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up your butt and sit here and say, like, oh, the 76ers are winning a championship. I don't believe that. I don't believe when it's all said and done, the Sixers are going to be any different than any other year. I'm also not going to focus on that today. But, ultimately, does yesterday's win make me feel any different about the team? Yeah, a little bit. It does, because you can at least see the template for how they win. Maxey's a difference maker, and Embiid was unbelievable. And, hey, if Caleb Martin can bank threes in and hit 7 3-pointers at career high, then yeah, you can see the build of this team. You can see what they're trying to do. You can see what Martin adds to the team. Now, Paul George, again, wasn't good yesterday, and he's not shooting the ball well. But the fact they were able to go to Boston, they were able to win like they were, and Paul George more or less isn't giving you anything at this point. Yeah, you can see that this team does have a high ceiling. And who the hell knows, right? What we haven't seen this team do is have that weird, we know they're talented, but everything didn't fall into place. The chemistry wasn't 100% there, or there were injuries. And is Joel Embiid going to be healthy at the end of the year under the playoffs? Good luck trying to predict or trying to say that that's the case. But that was a really, really good win yesterday. So while it may take a minor miracle for everything to have fallen into place at the end of the season and then to start the playoffs, who the hell knows? Team's talented enough. At least the team has the talent to where if they can friggin' figure it out one of these years and maybe get lucky with a draw, then we can get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then we can worry about then. Right? I can't sell you on NBA Finals championship or anything like that. Let's just worry about getting to the Eastern Conference Finals and then reset and see where we are. But that was as good as a win as anybody could expect yesterday. And again, I had no expectations. I'm not an NBA viewer on Christmas if there's games on, there's NFL games on. And really I wasn't. I didn't watch NBA other than the 76ers. But great win by the 76ers. Great win by the Sixers. So it's exciting. It really is. We'll get more into the game coming up here. We had NFL games as well. Tyler's going to be along with the headlines. Wanted to hit this here before we got to headlines. Bill Bergey passed away yesterday. at the age of 79. And he is important to the Eagles franchise for various reasons. And I was able to get to know Bill a little bit, working with him and doing events with him over the years. And when he was traded by Cincinnati to the Eagles, I didn't know this. Let's welcome in Tyler Zulli this morning. Merry Christmas, Tyler. Hope you had an excellent Christmas, you and the family. How are you?
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you as well. It was nice. It was really, really nice. It was obviously our first one with the little guys, so it was definitely different. It was really, really cool not that he knew what was going on, but to kind of experience it with him for the first time. So it was a wonderful day. Thank you.
Yeah, it was. It's always awesome with the kids, even if they don't know what the heck's going on. All right, so Bill Bergey passed away yesterday. He had cancer for the last couple of years, and I mean he was fighting it, man. You would never know that he had cancer. Yeah, his spirit. Bill Bergey had such a great spirit, but when the Eagles traded for him for the and his first year with the Eagles was in 1974. When they traded for him, the Eagles were really a pathetic franchise, a pathetic loser franchise that just were known more for their losing and their poor ownership and their bad coaches and everything else. And Bill Bergey came in and they traded 2 first-round draft picks and a second-round draft pick. And back then, that's what you did. You traded your draft picks because there wasn't free agency or things like that. But he had actually signed a contract. Did you know this, Tyler Zulli? The World Football League. Were you aware of the World Football League?
I'll be honest, I was not. And I'm pretty in tune with these, secondary leagues, the UFL and the XFL. And I think it probably started with when I was playing Madden back in the day when they used to have the Madden Europe teams, the NFL Europe teams.
Who can't forget that?
But no, I had never heard of that league before.
So the USFL was in the 80s.
Sure.
And they tried to steal the NFL talent with big money contracts. The World Football League was a notorious flop. So Bill Bergey signed a contract with Florida of that league, and then the Bengals sued him and said, no, you can't play for some other football team in some other league. So there was like a court battle over it. He never ended up playing for him because the Bengals traded him to the Eagles, and then the Eagles signed him to a long-term contract. But Bill Bergey, along with Dick Vermeil, came in here and said, we're not going to be losers anymore. And we're like, the goal became, because the Cowboys were the gold standard of the NFC, and it'd be like, all right, we got to beat the Cowboys. They're our rival. They're in our division. Bullseyes on them. And everybody bought into it. Bill Bergey played such a key role in the Eagles, from a player standpoint, in the Eagles not being losers anymore and turning around the loser franchise tag, because he was as good a defensive player as the Eagles had. Really, he's an all-time Eagle player. He's in their Hall of Fame, as he should be. He helped lead them to a Super Bowl in 1980, which no one thought they would ever get to, even though they lost. But Bill Bergey was such a great player, and as I saw firsthand, when you do appearances with athletes, whether they're current athletes, you do shows with current athletes, former athletes, or whatever, you get really good ones, you get not so good ones. Like Bill Bergey was 10 out of 10, top of the line. No one appreciated being an Eagle more than Bill Bergey, and took it to, as after he stopped playing, that was kind of his role, was like, I'm an Eagle and I'm going to represent the franchise. And he appreciated the fans so much, because if you were a Bill Bergey fan, I don't remember Bill Bergey playing at all. He retired in 1980. So you just know of Bill Bergey because he's Bill Bergey.
Sure.
And he was such a big player in the 70s. But the Eagle fan that would come to meet Bill Bergey to get an autograph from Bill Bergey is a special Eagle fan, because they were losers. They were the Eagles fans that knew nothing but losing until Bill Bergey came along. He was awesome. One of my favorite people.
Yeah, I never got the chance to interact with him or meet him, but I saw your tweet. I saw a lot of tweets that were similarly worded about the kind of guy that he was, the kind of Eagle that he was, like the love for the franchise, as you said, the love for the fans. I again never got a chance to meet him personally, but all the stories that you hear seem to kind of echo the exact same sentiment, where it's like, this guy bled Eagles green. He loved you as a fan, right? So
he did. Absolutely.
Yeah. Sad news this weekend.
Us. Yeah, it's weird doing sports radio and stuff for a long time. And there was he often would do I would do Miller Lite events, and he would often be the Eagle alumni. So like if I did 12 events a year, I'd probably see him 4 times. And the first times that we worked together, and I had him on for interviews and things like that on the radio. But first time I worked there, he's like, Johnny Marks. Oh, I love the show with you and Ike. And then like he's talking about callers on the show, and it's like, wow, this guy actually listens to me on the radio, which is weird. Because I always figured that the former players thought I was like an idiot, or you know what I mean? Like you're never sure what a former football player, a former NFL player, a great like Bill Bergey thinks of you. And then you can tell that he was a listener, and it really was like, it was humbling because Bill was such a good guy. And one other thing, and then we'll get to some headlines. He used to, when I would see him, because his son Jake was one of the great professional lacrosse players, and he played in Philadelphia with the Wings. If you go to the Wells Fargo Center, look up in the rafters, Jake Bergey's number with the Wings is retired. And that's a real thing. He was a great player for the Wings for a long time. Excellent athlete. So Bill raised his family here, and his family's raising their family here. But he would always ask me about my kids. Every time I'd see him, how's the family doing? How are your daughters doing? And I would always ask him about his grandkids, because he loved his grandkids. He loved talking about his grandkids and his kids. So Bill was just was a great guy. So R.I.P. Bill Bergey. Let's get to some headlines here. Tyler Zulli joins us this morning, the day after Christmas. Tyler, what do we got?
Yeah, let's do it. Of course, our headlines are brought to us by our friends over at Glad Hair Restoration, because if you want to improve how you look and how you feel, head on over to gladhairmctr.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started. You brought up the Sixers in your opening monologue. Let's start there. The Sixers do win on Christmas Day over the Boston Celtics, and I think every fan across the Delaware Valley let out like a collective because that felt like the type of game that the Sixers lose to the Celtics a lot. They closed the gap from 15 to 5 at one point really, really quickly, but the Sixers did a good job of holding on. They win 118 to 114. Joel Embiid, 27 points. Tyrese Maxey led all scorers, in fact, with 33. Jayson Tatum was 11 of 20 for the Celtics. He had 32, but the Sixers win for the second consecutive time, their 4th time in 5 tries. They're now 11 and 17. The Celtics lose for just the 8th time this year, and the first time they've lost back-to-back games this season. Sixers now just 1 game out of the final spot, the final play-in spot for the 10 seed, just a game back, and I guess lurking a little bit, if you will.
Yeah, fun. Caleb Martin, he banked I think it was his 5th or his 6th three-pointer, but he banked the 3-pointer, and it's like, it's going to be one of these days. But you can see, like, he was brought in for his toughness, 3-point shooting. Sure. He's a great 3-point shooter. But he was brought in for his toughness, and he hates the Celtics. Joel Embiid said after the game that he hates the Celtics just like he does. So, like, yeah, you need guys that aren't afraid to play in big games, and he played some big games with Miami over a couple seasons.
Yeah, this is from a Twitter account called Automatic NBA. It's the graphic that says the highest difference in 3-point percentage against one team versus every other team in the last 2 calendar years, dating back to January 1st, 2023. Caleb Martin has a plus 14.2% difference in his 3-point percentage shooting against the Boston Celtics than he does against the rest of the NBA. He's a 33.7% 3-point shooter on 448 attempts against the rest of the league. He is a 47.9% 3-point shooter on nearly 100 attempts against the Boston Celtics in the last 2 years. 96 attempts, he's shooting 47.9%.
He is the modern-day Boston Strangler. Yeah. All right. Good win. Let's go. Keep piling them up. You got more than enough time here to get back in. Like the Sixers are, when you look at the rest of the Eastern Conference, there's an explanation for why they're 6 games under 500 right now, right? When you look at some of the other teams that are in the same area as the Sixers, the Nets, the Pistons, the Bulls, I'll even say the Pacers and the Hawks, the Sixers will smash any of those teams if they play them in the playoffs, right? Like Cleveland, Celtics, Knicks, all right, Bucks, all right. I'm not going to go there yet. We'll see. These other teams, they'll smash them. The Heat, they'll smash them. they'll smash them. Just get right and go on a roll. And we're starting to see that a little bit.
So the other 4 games yesterday, the New York Knicks beat the San Antonio Spurs by 3. It was Minnesota beating Dallas by 6. The Lakers beat Golden State 115-113. And Phoenix, and our friends over at PHNX were raving about the win yesterday. The Phoenix Suns beat the Denver Nuggets 110-100. Phoenix is now just 15-14, and I know that obviously a better record than what the Sixers are boasting. But a lot of people in Phoenix are starting to maybe hit the panic button a little bit, because they don't really have a whole lot of flexibility, right? Big contracts between Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, of course. Devin Booker's on a big contract, hasn't played in a while. This was a good win for the Suns last night to kind of quell those nerves a little bit for fans in Phoenix.
Yeah, they need to go on a run as well. They have a lot of high end talent, but like Bradley Beal. I mean, unfortunately, that was their last move that they could make.
Sure.
And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We'll see. Suns certainly have the talent. But yeah, it was NBA games. I know the Warriors last night, they lost one, and Steve Kerr after the game trying to explain, it's like, we don't have confidence. They're done. They're done.
Yeah,
I love
probably.
Steph Curry. He's an all-time player. The Warriors aren't winning championships.
Well, Draymond can't play anymore.
No, Draymond can't play at all. He can't play at all.
Two games in the NFL yesterday. You brought up that neither of them were particularly close. The Kansas City Chiefs win 29-10 over the Pittsburgh Steelers. They win their 15th game in 16 tries. They've now clinched home field advantage in the bye in the AFC throughout the playoffs. So they will, of course, be the 1 seed in the AFC. So the Bills will likely be the 2 seed in the AFC. And then, of course, the division winners in the AFC North and AFC South. Right now is the Houston Texans in the South and the Ravens in the AFC North. They'll be battling the wild card teams in the wild card round of the playoffs. Speaking of the Baltimore Ravens, they win yesterday 31-2, John, over the Houston Texans, just a safety.
My prediction. That's what I had in the final score.
You had it exact. You won $10 million. You shouldn't even be here right now. The Ravens win 31-2. And if I assumed, John, that this was going to be a scoregami. It was not. It's actually the 3rd time in NFL history that this score has happened. It's the first time since 1965 when the Dallas Cowboys beat the New York Giants 31-2 from the Cotton Bowl in Texas. But the Ravens now 11-5. They take control of the AFC North with the Steelers lost. They're 10-6. So it appears that the Ravens will be in the driver's seat to not only be the AFC North division winner, but the 3 seed in the AFC playoffs as well.
All right, so we'll do this. I want to talk a little bit about those games yesterday, so we have that coming up. Also, is Jalen Hurts going to play on Sunday? Well, we're on Thursday. He had a concussion. So we'll talk about that. Does he need to play? Should they be pushing him to play? We have that right after this. Philly with John Marks. Don't go anywhere. All right, stay right here. C-Jam Construction. We know they just had their tour drive with Chop, and they announced their winner. But listen, if you're looking for any type of home remodel, decks, it's a good time to do it right now because you get the job done. Boom, spring comes, you have your deck. But decks, bathrooms, flooring, whatever you're looking for, C-Jam Construction. And they're viewers, listeners, watchers of the show. They're a part of the Philly with John Marks and the PHLY community. So we like to support our community, right? So if you're looking to get anything done to your house, they're going to help take the challenges and frustrations that come with home remodeling out because they handle everything. It's not going to be subcontractors coming in or whatever. They will be your contractor. All right, so check them out. And if you mention PHLY, you'll receive 15% off. Call them at 856-329-2933 about your next home project, or you can see everything that they do, all their products, all their warranties, on their website, cjamconstruction.com. That's the letter C, J-A-M, cjamconstruction.com. Again, when you do speak to them, you say, hey, think about getting something done. 15% off your project. Just mention that you heard about them on PHLY. All right, let's talk about TrueMark Financial for a second. So this week, this is the week, and it's going to have to be tomorrow. I can't do it today. But I'm headed over with the kids to TrueMark Financial because, I make sure that with gifts and things like that, that we have so many toys in the house, right? We just can't have toy after toy after toy after toy. So the grandparents and some other people are pretty good about making sure that the kids get a little bit of money so we can put it in the bank, right? So we have the piggy banks full, and we're going to head over to TrueMark Financial because, like, I'm a TrueMark customer. I have my business checking account there. So, like, I've already went through the whole process. I know all the folks over there, and they really do an amazing, tremendous job. But their Greenlight app, which is like a really, really cool, smart idea that they have going on right now at TrueMark, it's free. And if you're a TrueMark customer, all you have to do is go over to the website. The Greenlight app is changing the game, helping kids and teens learn how to earn, save, and spend wisely. So they have an app. They can go in, they can see, here's how much money I have in the app. I just deposited this. I just want to do this, right? They also get a debit card with their name on it so they can make purchases, and they're really learning finances at a young age. And with the holidays right here, now's the perfect time to introduce your kids to Greenlight. All right, check it out. Get signed up today. We're going to head over because I have to open up an account with them to my local TrueMark branch. But go to TrueMark.com/Greenlight for more information. TrueMark.com/Greenlight. All right, hoo-ah. We're back. So the Steelers slide. I have Steeler fans that I am friends or acquaintance with, and I never bought into, because they were being sold, or they were possibly looking like they were top of the conference. Look at Russell Wilson. He looks more like the Russell that he did when he was closer to an elite quarterback. He's not just a game manager, blah, 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 blah. Well, they are not good. Last 3 games, they lost 14 to the Eagles. That could have been much more. They lost by 17 to the Ravens, and then yesterday they lost by 19, and they were thoroughly outplayed by the Chiefs. After the game, Mike Tomlin not happy, the rest of the team not happy. Will be interesting to see how they respond to it, but they're still going to be a playoff team. But, you know, if anybody thinks that the Steelers are making a run at the Super Bowl this year, I would say no, they're not. Also, Lamar Jackson, he ran 21 miles per hour on his touchdown run yesterday. And that game was embarrassing. It was non-competitive. The entire game was pretty much over. But Lamar Jackson, I actually was meaning to do this morning. Is now he going to win the MVP? It's so weird. It seemed like that he had no shot to win the MVP. And then you go a couple of weeks, and now people are back to saying, no, yeah, he should win the MVP. All he needs, for me, Lamar Jackson, all he needs is to make a Super Bowl. We've seen this. We've seen how valuable he is to the Ravens, how great of a player he is to the Ravens. If you can't win an AFC Championship game, and in those games that you lose, you're struggling, like, you need to win. I don't want to hear about the MVP stuff anymore, and I saw a lot of it yesterday. But I mean, he was fantastic. He broke the rushing record for the NFL, the all-time rushing record by a quarterback in the NFL yesterday. Beat Michael Vick. So, and that's not all he does. He can sling it out there with the best of them.
Well, if you look at his numbers, like, across the board, so last year he played 16 of the 17 games. So he's at his 16 game mark. He's played every game this year. The Ravens are 11-5. And they win yesterday. He's thrown for more yards than he did last year, and almost 300 more yards. He's going to break the 4,000-yard mark for the first time in his career. He has 39 touchdowns this season, which leads the NFL. Of course, they've now played the extra game over most teams, but he has 39 touchdowns that leads the NFL. He's thrown 4 interceptions this year. His interception percentage this year is 0.9. He's thrown an interception on 0.9% of his throws. He has 442 attempts. He's thrown 4 interceptions. He leads the league in yards per attempt in terms of his yards downfield at 8.9. The air yards per attempt is over 10 for the first time in his career. That's a league lead. His 121.6 quarterback rating, his 77 QBR are both league leads. Like, he is having a statistically better year than he did last year when he won the MVP.
He won the MVP. And they're going to win the division, it looks like. Yeah, no, I was always a Lamar fan. When he was available for a trade, I couldn't believe more teams weren't interested in him. Like the Jets, you would have given up 2 first-round draft picks, you probably would have had Lamar Jackson. He is that good of a player. Got to win in the playoffs, brother. Plain and simple. Got to win in the playoffs. Bet Parks doesn't have the MVP odds up yet, so maybe that comes down until they play this weekend, until Josh Allen plays this weekend. But Eagles are still plus 600 to win the Super Bowl. So it's Chiefs. Now the Chiefs are the favorite, plus 380. Lions plus 450. Bills plus 500. Eagles plus 600. There you go. All right, so how do we feel about the Eagles and the Cowboys on Sunday? It's a 1 o'clock game now. Honestly, I think this is going to be a pretty competitive game. Is Jalen Hurts going to play? Now, I would say Jalen Hurts is going to play based on what the spread in the game is. You're seeing it anywhere from Eagles are favored by 9 points to 8.5. I saw on the Bet Parks app they were favored by 9 points. I can't imagine if Kenny Pickett was going to start this game that the Eagles would be favored by 9 points. All due respect to Kenny Pickett, because he didn't play bad against who did they even play last week?
Washington.
Washington. He didn't. How soon we forget? He didn't play poorly, but he's still Kenny Pickett, and the Cowboys defense. While they'll give up some yards, man, they can take that ball away. That was a really, really good win they had against the Bucs. They're also eliminated. The Cowboys are also eliminated from the playoffs. So does that mean that they come out with screw the Eagles. We don't care if we're eliminated from the playoffs. We think we can beat this team. And they've played better with Cooper Rush. They figured things out all right, this is the kind of way we need to play. They can run the football now that they stopped trying to force Ezekiel Elliott and Rico Dowdle. He actually looks pretty good. So this is a pretty good team coming in here against the Eagles on Sunday. From my view on a Thursday heading into a weekend during a holiday week, is that I think it's going to be a pretty competitive game. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. Now, Jalen Hurts comes back. I'm guessing, again, so I don't think the Eagles are favored by 9 points if Jalen Hurts doesn't play. And the odds makers, even if information's not out there, the odds makers seem to know what's going on, and they seem to think that Jalen Hurts, or they seem to know that Jalen Hurts is likely to play on Sunday, which I'm fine with. Anytime to a reporter I bring up, I'll say something, and I said it to Zach Berman about somebody before after a concussion. I said, well, you could just be cautious and go another week. Their immediate snapback is, well, if you're cleared from concussion, there's no reason to give people extra time, which I still disagree with. But if your brain is okay and you're ready to play, then you're ready to play. So I don't think you need to give Jalen Hurts any additional time. Beat the Cowboys this week. He doesn't play against the Giants in the final week of the season. So you get that week off, you get a bye, and then you come out and you're probably playing the Commanders in the first game. Oh man, that is not good. But yeah, so it's going to be a competitive game on Sunday, which is a great thing. This team needs to rev it back up. But I would treat this game like it was any other regular season game that you need to win. You don't take your foot off the gas for this one because you have a pathetic Giants team coming up in Week 17. And frankly, I'm ready to see the Eagles lose and lay down to the Giants in Week 17, and the Giants cost themselves the first overall draft pick. They're Tyler Zulu.
You're big on this, man. You are big on Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito or whoever it's going to be winning that game because it doesn't mean anything for the Eagles and costing them either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. But you're right. You bring up the Cowboys have kind of found an identity that works for them. Now, last week was a little bit of an anomaly in terms of the stat that I'm about to provide because Rico Dowdle only rushed for 23 yards on 13 attempts, but the Bucs' run defense up the middle, especially with Vita Vea, has been decent at times this year. Rico Dowdle went for 4 straight games with 85 or more yards. He went 86 against the Commanders and then went 112, 131, and 149 against the Giants, Bengals, and Carolina. Now, none of those are stout defensive fronts. Carolina has the worst rushing defense in the league. The Bengals have been a pretty bad defense most of this year. But Rico Dowdle's been really good in the run game each of the last 4 weeks leading up to the Tampa Bay game last week. Also, too, the other thing that I'm looking at is Cooper Rush gets the ball out quickly. Now, this is not just in terms of the fact that he's being pressured, but his pocket time is 35th across the all quarterbacks this year. Now, if you take out some of the guys that played 3 or 4 games, he's probably, 17th or 18th. I would have to like look at the numbers and see where he's actually at. But he's at 2.3 seconds in pocket time. Now, you would say maybe the offensive line isn't playing particularly well, but he's also only been sacked 12 times in the 11 games that he's played. He's been knocked down 18, and he's been hurried 25. So to put that into perspective, Dak Prescott, who only has played 8 games this year before the injury, had the exact same pocket time at 2.3 seconds, but was sacked 21 times, was knocked down 28, and was hurried 33. The Cowboys' offensive line is playing better than it did at the beginning of the year, and it shows not just in Cooper Rush getting the football out more quickly, but also in the run game as well. This is a better Cowboys team than the Cowboys team you saw in Dallas a couple of weeks ago. With that being said, the Eagles are a far superior team to this Cowboys team. It might be a competitive game, but there should be no expectations. Assuming Jalen Hurts does play, there should be no expectations of anything but the Eagles clinching the NFC East and clinching the 2 seed at the end of Sunday's, at like 4:15 on Sunday.
It is. This is a must win. Let's end this.
Sure.
All right. So like that's how they play every week. But still, you can't look at this team as being this is a win, backup quarterback. Like no, I get the win, so we don't have to worry about the Giants game, and then they can get healthy and set up and ready to go for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean they've won 4 out of their last 5 games. The Cowboys have, and they've played much better in those last 5 games than they did in the blowout against the Eagles and the loss to the Texans and all of that. Like they've been a much better team. Again, like you said, this should be a let's finish this thing, let's wrap this thing up, and then you can talk about. You're right. You want to say, do you want to give Jalen Hurts some extra time to get healthy? That's what next weekend's for, right? At that point, you're going to be the 2 seed because the NFC West and the NFC South division winners cannot catch you. Obviously, the Vikings and the Packers and the Lions, whoever doesn't win the division between the Vikings and the Lions will be the top wild card team, but the Packers are probably going to be 2, and Washington's 3. None of those teams can leap you as wild card teams in the standings, so you're going to be the 2 seed. You'll have every opportunity to rest a bulk of your starters against the Giants by winning this game on Sunday, and I expect them to win this game on Sunday.
Yeah, they better. All right. Uncle Jamie's going to be by in about 10 minutes for his college football locks of the week because there's a lot of bowl games going on, but the college football playoffs resume next week. So the 31st is they have one game on New Year's Eve, which is Penn State, and then you have the other games on New Year's Day. So this is going to be awesome. We'll talk to Uncle Jamie coming up here in a second. I did want to mention something else here because quite frankly, I'm offended by it. But our own Violations Greg from the Anthony Gargano show, and actually, Tyler, you're going to be on with Jamie coming up here. Ant's off today.
Yes.
Jamie Lynch is sitting in, and you're going to scoot right from here over, and you're going to join Jamie, huh?
Yeah, so I'll do all our post show stuff. We'll get the podcast done and whatnot, and then I'll head on over there and I'll say the same things I just said to you.
Beautiful. Feel like your script's already written. So VG puts out, why isn't Christmas Vacation on a channel 24/7 during Christmas? And I'm not offended by that because it's honestly, and knowing Greg for a long time as I have, it's a good take. It is. You could easily, and believe me, if you have Roku, like right now, you could be watching us on the Roku channel. There's a channel for everything, including PHLY Sports. There's a channel for everything. If you want to watch classic Family Feud with just Richard Dawson, there's a channel for you, right? Cops in Espanol. Like, why you could have a channel of everything. So why wouldn't you just have a Christmas Vacation 24/7 channel there? Now, we'll get to more of that in a second. But Mike Sealski of the Philadelphia Inquirer, columnist, quote treated Violations Greg and said, because it's not that funny. All right. Well, listen. You may not think that it's the best Christmas movie ever. You may not think that it's as funny as a lot of people think. But saying it's not that funny, like, you would have to now explain why it's not that funny. Now, keep in mind, you're not saying it's the greatest comedy of all time. We're talking about Christmas movies. Like, when you're doing Christmas movies, doesn't National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation give you everything you're looking from in a Christmas movie.
For sure.
Like Tyler, for example, we'll have is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Is it not a Christmas movie? Well, it was set on Christmas, but it has very little to do with Christmas. But then it's like technically it's a Christmas
saying
movie.
That for years.
Right.
I don't think it is, but this is a fight that we're going to have until the end of time.
Right. Which is fine as long as we have it around Christmas. Gremlins, same thing. Like the Gremlins were actually a Christmas gift, but it doesn't have anything to do with the Christmas spirit, right? So National Lampoon's Vacation is legitimately funny, whether or not you watch it during the Christmas time or not. It is indeed 100% a Christmas movie because it's a Christmas movie. Everything about it is Christmas. It gives you everything you're looking for from a Christmas movie. It checks every box. It's funny. It is truly a Christmas movie, unlike Die Hard or things like that. And let me ask you this. If you're talking about Christmas movies, what are the next one or two best Christmas movies? Are they funny? Like Elf is a great Christmas movie.
Sure.
I would put Elf up there when you're talking about
I think
Christmas
you talk
movies.
about the classic. You think about like It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
It's a more serious movie, right? So here's my thing. I look at Christmas movies the same way I look at a best man speech at a wedding. Everybody wants your best man speech to be good. So the threshold, the bar for good is so low. Right? Because even if your speech stinks,
it just can't be terrible.
It can't be awful, right? You can't be drunk. You can't make inappropriate comments. But like anything else, if you take a jab at your best friend, you say thank you to the parents of the bride and the groom or of the couple, right? And you move on. And you just say a couple of nice things and you move on. Everybody wants your speech to be good. And when you get done, they're going to go, hey, great speech. That was excellent. You did an awesome job. Even if you didn't really. I look at Christmas movies the same way. Christmas movies' threshold to be good is so low because all you got to do is, as you said, have some nostalgia, have joy, make you feel like, you have that kid at Christmas feel again. Like even the bad Christmas movies, unless they're dreadful, are still considered good because they're holiday movies, right? Like that's what they're supposed to do. They invoke good feelings. Yeah, I think Christmas Vacation is a step above that. I think it's a genuinely good comedy movie. Yes. Even if it wasn't Christmas, it's funny. Oh my God, is it funny? It's great. All right, well, maybe we'll end the show with that. I could talk about this all show. All right, Uncle Jamie, what does he have for the college locks of the week? He's got them. Free money. That's coming up next right here on Philly with John Marks. Don't go anywhere. All right, how about getting your hair back for the holidays? Maybe a little present for yourself. Get your hair back. Glatt Hair Restoration. Now a part of Morgenstern Medical under the direction of renowned plastic surgeon, Dr. Ken Morgenstern. If you want your hair back, they have options for you. If you're bald, if you're balding, whatever stage of hair loss you're in, they have it for you. I had hair restoration surgery. Boom, look at my hair. Looks great. All right. If you're starting to go bald, vitamin supplementation, PRP and stem cell restoration, which I've had done. There's a lot of options in the year almost 2025. It's not the old days where there's like one style of hair restoration. Science, ladies and gentlemen, science. And if you're a lady and you're experiencing hair loss, guys can just shave their heads and most guys are like, yeah, I'm fine. It looks good. And it does look good, right? What do you do if you're a woman and post-menopause or after you have children, right? And you're starting to lose your hair. You're starting to thin. You can't just shave your head. So what do? Well, they have something for you. Glatt Hair can help during all stages of hair loss. Most experience in the industry, over 30 years of experience here with their hair team. So it's not just about restoration. It's about innovation. Their breakthrough treatments dramatically change lives. You can get your hair back. Bald's optional. 610-980-4000. If you call right now, I know it's the day after Christmas, you'll speak to their hair team. 610-980-4000 or glatthairmctr.com. GLAT hairmctr.com. All right, so what did you get for Christmas? Right? Did you get maybe a couple gift cards or whatever? You're saying to yourself now, like, all right, what am I going to do? What's something fun I'm going to do here coming up in the first month or two of the new year? How about this? How about Parks Casino?
My casino of choice. This is how you win. Pennsylvania's #1 casino right in the Philly burbs. Less than 2 hours from New York. Well, I don't live 2 hours from New York. I'm like 40 minutes away. So close to everywhere in Jersey and Delaware as well. How about tickets to the Excite Center? If you haven't seen a show at the Excite Center, it's amazing. Liberty Bell Gastropub. And you're talking about the best wings and burger and great food like that. Liberty Bell Beer Garden, the high-end Parks Grill Steakhouse, and more. ParksCasino.com. So check it out. Larry the Cable Guy, May 16th. Little comedy for you. Second show for comedian Ron White. That's March 20th. The reggae sounds of Shaggy. People think I'm joking you when I say I'm going to go see Shaggy on January 18th. Actor Richard Kind from Curb Your Enthusiasm later on in January 24th. Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains, February 8th. Michael Carbonell in March. Enjoy dinner and drinks before the show at Liberty Bell Gastropub, the Parks Grill Steakhouse, Bamboo Noodle House, which, in all honesty, I have not eaten there. Hear great things. ParksCasino.com. Buy tickets for all shows. Parks Casino. This is how you win. You must be 21. Gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. There you go. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Are you a Alice in Chains? You seem like an Alice in Chains fan. I might have asked you about this before.
Huge Alice in Chains fan. Yeah, I mean, I saw them with William Duvall a couple years ago, and he was
where was that?
Excellent. I think I saw them at the BB&T Pavilion or whatever it was at the time.
In Camden,
yeah.
No, gotcha. I guess that makes sense for a summer concert series.
He was excellent. And Jerry Cantrell can still play. I mean, they're as tight as ever. Like they just, and the thing with them is, they still write new music, but they're one of those bands that recognize, like, hey, we'll play some new music, we'll play some stuff, but we're gonna play the hits.
They embrace their passes, which is why 95% of the freaking people are there. Tyler, nothing pisses me off more than the artists that are annoyed because everybody wants to hear all the stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to hear your 2023 album. I'm sorry. You guys you wrote one of the greatest, some of the greatest grunge music of all time in the 90s and early 2000s.
Play it all.
Play that stuff, right?
Yes, and incorporate some of your new stuff.
And then play it right. So if I go see Alice in Chains, I want to see stuff off of Dirt. I want to hear them Bones. I want to hear, Man in the Box isn't off of Dirt, but I want to hear Man in the Box.
Yeah.
I want to hear the best songs you have, and then sprinkle in your new stuff, right? So I saw them on the Black Gives Way to Blue tour, and they played a couple of songs off of that album, but they played mostly their hits.
Yeah, like you would when you went to see Sugar Ray, they didn't want to play their they were playing all their new stuff.
I'll be honest with you, I don't even know if they have new stuff.
I don't think they do. No, the front man has been on Entertainment Tonight or whatever show for the last 15 years. Mark McGrath, I think is his name. I don't know. Well, you know what? I'll bet you. Well, they were just at Parks. So, but it was just Sugar. It was just the Sugar Ray guy.
Yeah, it was just him.
It was just him
because they did that trio thing, right? They did him and the guy from
I forget.
I think it was Tonic.
Bunch of one-hit wonder bands or whatever. All right, Uncle Jamie is with us. I saw him on Christmas Eve. He is. I'm assuming he is a Central City Toyota today. Of course he is, because when you're a general manager of a car dealership, there's not a lot of days off.
It's
Uncle
Toyota
Jamie, how are you?
It's Toyota-thon. Come on.
So what do you get? Is it a busy day at a car dealership for people that are looking to buy?
Yeah, so Toyota-thon really brings people in, national advertising. So this week will be very busy. So it's a good time to get your car serviced, fully staffed. Good time to come look at new Toyotas, look at certified, pre-owned, both our dealerships. So busy time for us. So. Yeah,
CentralCityToyota.com for all the inventory if you want to see. And their sister dealership in Ardmore has a ton of stock as well. So you can see both on CentralCityToyota.com.
Absolutely, yep. I'll tell you, Alice in Chains, one of my favorite on MTV Unplugged with Lane Staley, their original co-lead singer. Man, I still listen to that today. Tyler Zulli, he and I have to talk about.
So good. Well, such a great show.
But that era of you can go back and think of so many different acts that went on Unplugged during that era that was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, We don't have games this weekend, which is fine because you look at it. So you have Penn State, Boise State, the lone game on the 31st, New Year's Eve. And then you go bang, 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 Texas, Arizona State, Ohio State, Oregon, Notre Dame, Georgia on New Year's Day. We have bowl games between them, so there's plenty of college football to sample. But I guess, Jamie, to start, I think we were worried about competitiveness in these first couple games. When you looked at the lines of the games, there wasn't any. They were all touchdown or more lines, and the games played out exactly to that. Really, I guess Texas was the most competitive game. If Murray, and that wasn't even a competitive game. So some clunkers here, but I think it's going to set up for a really, really good second round of these playoffs.
Yeah, I not to brag, but 4-0 last week.
Were you 4-0?
4-0. Tyler Zulli coming for you. I'll tell you, definitely, you had a whole controversy on ESPN, the different camps of shows going after each other based upon the competitive balance that they saw in the first round. Everybody hyping up. They have Indiana on College Game Day and how great the program is with the Pat McAfee show hyping it. Next thing you know, Kirk Herbstreit's slamming that Indiana should have never been there. So you definitely saw a talent difference between the teams that truly can compete for a national title. So, that Penn State-Boise game coming up, Penn State looked, they started off so slow in that game. They gave the SMU every opportunity, and then in a big spot, the kid Jennings just collapsed, and Penn State's defense was all over it. 2 pick sixes, and that was basically the end of the game. So, translating that to what they can do with Boise, obviously Ashton Genty, a lot of people felt should have won the Heisman Trophy. That's their game. Up front, they run the ball a lot of RPO scheme. But if Penn State, that defense can play like they did last week, and you combine that with Drew Auer playing a smart game, he doesn't seem to wilt in a big spot in the regards of him making a lot of unforced errors, and then lean on that run game and Tyler Warren. And I think Penn State comes out and wins this game.
Yeah, I agree with you on Penn State. We'll look at that one first. When you look at it, Penn State and Texas get the best draws because you have the 3 and the 4 who get the automatic right there at being 3 and 4. Our Texas is 13.5 point favorites. Penn State's 10.5 point favorite. And then you look at, Oregon gets rewarded by playing Ohio State, and Georgia gets rewarded by playing Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So, I get it. Boise State and Arizona State should have been playing last week. Yeah. And then you'd probably have better matchups across the board. But it kind of is what it is. All right, so you like Penn State. This is the Friday night game, the Tuesday night game, New Year's Eve. 10.5 point favorites over Boise State. You see a lot of the same things that you saw in their win over SMU.
Yeah, I think Penn State, in regards of what they did in that game, I think you can translate that to Boise's scheme. Boise will try to control the ball a little bit more. I don't think that their quarterback's going to throw it around the field like Jennings did. And make the big error. So it's a big number to cover in this spot for Penn State. But they got me believing a little bit. So I think, right on the margin of that line, I think Penn State wins it.
I agree 100%. Texas, I still don't know how good they are. But, Arizona State, I wouldn't expect them to be a perennial playoff team here. It was a good season this year. 13.5 point favorites, Texas. This is the 1 p.m. game on New Year's Day, Jamie.
Here's my surprise pick of the week. I am not a Texas fan. I have not seen great things from Texas. The running game, they have not been able to get it going all year long. There's not a great synergy between Ayers and the receiving core that he has. I'm not sold on their defense, even though they are uber talented in regards of players on the defense. I will tell you this: I've seen Arizona State play a few times this year. Their running back Cam Scatterboo is the real deal, man. He is real deal. The guy can run the ball with almost a Derrick Henry type fierceness, even though he's half the size. The guy can get up and down the field. I like Arizona State's wide open game. They're on a winning streak. I think Arizona State covers this easy. I think this is a close game. And I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona State wins outright.
Wow. All right. Wow. Okay. It's a big number. It honestly makes sense. I agree 100%. Every time I'm waiting to be impressed by Texas, they never seem to do it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we go to 5 p.m. on New Year's Day, Ohio State and Oregon. This is going to be a good one here.
This is a national championship type game.
Yeah. Ohio State's favored in the game.
Yeah. Tyler said last week, after I got off and you guys were talking, he's like, if the Ohio State team shows up to what their talent is, nobody can beat them. Nobody can beat them. I mean, number 4, Jeremiah Smith, the quarterback. Absolutely. Will Howard playing great. So much talent on defense. You forget how much talent they have on defense. I mean, if Ohio State plays to their talent, nobody beats them. Now, I saw Oregon go up and down the field on Penn State against what we saw to be probably a pretty decent defense of Penn State. Oregon, once again, uber talented. This game I am so excited to see this game, rematch, back and forth. I'm going to take Ohio State, though. I think Ohio State in this spot, I don't believe in Oregon's defense. I think Ohio State will score. I think it's going to be take the over. It's going to be a high-scoring game. But I think in the end, Ohio State wins this game just on pure talent.
Over under 44 and a half here. That's Georgia. 53 and a half. Yeah. So, somewhere mid-50s. High. All right. Ryan Day. It's a chance for Ryan Day.
I think Ohio State's the team to beat for the national title. Yeah, we'll see it. I mean, that team that played last week, that team shows up. No one's stopping them.
All right, Georgia 1.5 favorites over Notre Dame, and that's going to be. And Carson Beck, their starting quarterback, he just had UCL surgery. So Gunnar Stockton, even with the backup, with the youngster in there, they're still favorite. Georgia 1.5 favorites over Notre Dame. Notre Dame they did what they. You're right. You were 4-0 last week, so you knew what you were talking about. Notre Dame was dominant. Notre Dame was good last week. A much different Georgia team they'll be facing this week, though, Jamie.
Gunnar Stockton, not a lot of people know, but he was a 5-star recruit. Every major program wanted him. 2-time state champion. The kid has had monster stats coming out of high school. So don't sleep on this kid. The point total tells you something here. Georgia's still favored with a backup quarterback and not played good all year. That why? Because Georgia in games like this just steamroll people like Notre Dame. They're going to steamroll the Fighting Irish. This is the kind of game where Kirby Smart gets these guys riled up. Georgia's defense will predominate. And trust me, Jeremiah Love and Riley Leonard, they looked amazing. This is where it all comes crashing down on Notre Dame's head. Georgia wins this game by a touchdown, if not more.
Wow. All right. Uncle Jamie coming off a 4-0 week in the first round of the college football playoffs. He likes Georgia -1.5, Ohio State -2.5, and the over. Arizona State, possible outright, but he'll take the 13.5 points. And then Penn State -10.5. I think these are going to be some good games coming up. And
can't
that's
wait.
next Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yep. Can't wait.
All right, Uncle Jamie, he's down at Central City Toyota right now in the heart of University City, 55 years on Chestnut Street. All of their inventory, centralcitytoyota.com. There's service specials right now. Buy 3 tires, get the 4th free. And you'll be there all day today, Jamie.
Be there all day. We're here until New Year's Eve, working a full day on New Year's Eve. So plenty of time to come get your car service, come look at cars, buy cars. CentralCityToyota.com, our full inventory on there. Sales and service are open. So come on down and see us. We got the coffee flowing. I got donuts down there. I'll be buying soft pretzels later, so come on down and get some.
All right, there he is. All right, good luck on the games, Uncle Jamie.
All right, talk to you.
All right, there he is. I didn't realize he was 4-0. I knew that his picks were good. Tyler Lazuli, I didn't realize he was 4-0.
Yeah, clean sweep last week.
Man. Oh, I want to believe him in that Arizona State game, but we'll see. That's a good one.
Well, remember you and I talked about the Arizona State-Iowa State game, the Big 12 championship, and I said to you, When I feel like a game is close, and you and I felt like the game was going to be close heading into it, I take the team with the best player. The best player in that game is Cam Scatterbo.
Yeah.
Now, that game wasn't close at all.
No.
They obliterated Iowa State, and due in part largely because Cam Scatterbo had a huge day. In this one, it's so many points that you wonder, are they looking at Arizona State as, like, is this where they fall off? Right. You know what I mean? It's so many points.
That's what the lines makers are thinking.
But
you cannot.
But every time this Arizona State team has had their back against the wall or been told they're not good enough, all they do is win, right? Like they were told they were going to finish in last in the Big 12. They win the Big 12. They get a bye. I don't know if they're going to win this game, but it's a lot of points.
But you can also you can see how they do it. They're going to run the ball and they're going to try to control the game like that. And I'm looking forward to what we see here. I'll be watching bowl games as well. All right, so
did you watch the 7-hour fiasco Hawaii Bowl on Christmas Eve? It was like a 7 overtime game.
You know, I actually have attended a Hawaii Bowl before. They always try to get Hawaii in.
Hawaii should always be in the Hawaii Bowl, I think, if they're bowl eligible.
Well, they're never bowl eligible.
Right, that's the problem.
Shout out to everybody watching on TV for everything, and watch the rest of the show, allphly.com. No, they're not. They have to get them to 6 wins, and they just can't do it. Because if they get to 6 wins, they will be in the Hawaii Bowl. Yeah, it was San Jose State against somebody. I did not see it. I did not see it.
Hawaii won 5 this year. They were going in the right direction.
They were close.
Yeah.
Timmy Chang got a contract extension, I think. I'll watch any college bowl. During the Penn State game, I switched over and watched South Dakota and North Dakota because it was such a blowout.
You know what bowl might be sneaky good this week? Tomorrow at 3:30, Georgia Tech and Vandy.
Georgia, you know what? Both teams
might
are
be
good.
A sneaky good game.
They are good.
Diaco Pavia just got his case heard, and he can come back to Vanderbilt for his 700th year.
Georgia Tech just lost one of their really good wide receiver though to the portal,
right?
Yeah.
But that might be a sneaky good game.
No, it is. No, the Georgia Tech's very good this year. All right, everybody, we're back tomorrow for a Football Friday. Thanks to everybody that got up the day after Christmas and watched with us live. As always, you can watch whenever you want to on YouTube. Just follow, subscribe, smash that subscribe button. Then you don't get a choice. You have to watch our stuff because the algorithm demands that you do it. So smash the subscribe button. You can tune in live every morning at 8 o'clock, but you can watch at your leisure whenever you want to. All of our podcast listeners, Tyler gets the podcast up every day at 9 o'clock. So if you watch, but you're thinking like, hey, I can listen to, the audio version of the podcast goes up every day, a little bit after 9 a.m. We're back tomorrow on a Football Friday. Eagles and Cowboys on Sunday. We'll talk to you, Sam.
We all silly like the mayor.